now we're gonna do this.
Oh, we can do it right now. Well, when you get to that.
Later.
When
Yeah,
you get to
later.
it, I can like pull it over and I'll show
Okay.
you. Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
Whenever
let's
you're
do
ready.
it. This is the planer, or also known as the thickness planer, and it's generally what we use right after the jointer. As you saw in the last video, Oliver jointed this face flat and an edge flat. So now the planer is basically like the opposite of a jointer, where the cutting blades are on the machine up here, and we're using this beautifully cast iron steel bed to reference our new jointed surface. So when I'm jointing this board, I want to make sure to put my freshly jointed face on my reference bed. So when this is passing through, the cutters on the top of the machine that's covered by this hood is gonna cut very light passes, kind of like the jointer, to make sure that the opposite face is gonna be completely parallel to our reference face. And I'm gonna read through the safety guidelines. The distance between the infeed and outfeed rollers determines the minimum length of wood that can be planed. The minimum length is 12 inches, and the minimum thickness is 1/4 inch. So with the boards we're gonna be using, that shouldn't be a problem, but in general, your board should be at least this long, 12 inches. A board that is too short, shorter than 12 inches, can kick back towards you. When the planer is running, you don't ever want to go down and look towards the blades, because if there's anything that's going to kick back, it's going to go right into your face. As well as wood can break off during the planing process and can also come shooting back at you. So just stand as you would normally, don't duck down and look at what's going on. The depth of the cut is proportional to the width and hardness of the wood. A 32nd to a 16th of an inch depth of a cut is typical. So in general, this wheel right here is moving the bed up and down. So if I'm going counterclockwise, it's moving the bed down. If I'm going clockwise, it's moving the bed up. The higher the bed, the bed just corresponds with the thickness of the wood. But in general, when I'm planing, I give it about a 180-degree turn. So if it's at 12 o'clock, I'm gonna turn it to 6 o'clock. If it's at 3 o'clock, I'm gonna turn it to 9 o'clock. That's, if thinking about the thickness is too much, then just think about doing half a turn each time. Do not mill boards of different thicknesses at the same time. So anything you're passing through here should be generally around the same thickness, because you can only plane it to one thickness at a time. Set the table height according to the board that is the thickest. So now that I have this board, I'm gonna measure it and see the thickness. The thickness is gonna vary a little bit around the whole board, but I'm gonna just check a few points. So that's about 1.5 inches minus, that's about 1.5 inches minus, 1.5 inches. So it looks like 1.5 inches is generally my thickest part. Never start the machine with the wood in contact with the planer knife. So you should never, I don't know why you would do this, but you should not have the board inside of the planer when you turn it on. You should start the planer, and then you should pass the wood through, and then it will automatically grab your wood. You just let let it grab it. Turn on the dust collection system before turning on the planer. Be sure to turn off both when finished. So there's gonna be a dust collection button over there on the gray box. We can show you guys in person when we are together. Stand to one side of the board as you're feeding it through the planer. Hold the board down flat to the empty table. So the board should be flat on the empty table. You should not be having it in the air when you're feeding it through. Properly support long work pieces with in-feed and out-feed rollers. Oliver also talked about that when we were using a jointer. In general, our boards should not be too long that you need the rollers. If the board comes to a stop while cutting, turn off the machine and then raise the cutter head to the correct setting. Turn the machine off and wait for the planer to come to a complete stop prior to cleaning the work area, removing debris, making any adjustments. The cutter head, just like any other machine in here, will spin quietly for a while. So just be conscientious of that. Once again, never perform layout, assembly, setup work on the planer table. These machines should be treated with your utmost respect and undivided attention. Become familiar with the sound of the machine and stay completely alert if there are any new sounds or vibrations. When the work is complete, turn off the machine. So we'll show you guys this later. But there's a key on this side of the machine. If you turn the key, it's going to turn on the machine. And if you press the red button, it's going to turn off the machine. Unplug the machine, raise the stop cutter head, and vacuum out the inside area of the planer if it is filled with sawdust. Hopefully that won't happen. Please realize there are no shortcuts in woodworking. When beginning work on the planer, mentally prepare yourself for a pace of work that is slower, more deliberate, and safety conscious. Accept the fact that everything will take longer than you think. Always err on the side of caution, and familiarity with the planer or any other machine breeds confidence and competence. So practice often and ask questions and get help when you need it. So I've already measured my board. I know that it's about 1.5 inches thickness, and I'm gonna, it's always also better to err on the side of going thicker than you think the board is, because you don't want to like accidentally set it too high and make the machine work too hard when it's trying to remove too much material. It's gonna, you're gonna hear it and it's not a pleasant sound. So we're just gonna go, there's a red line here, so I'm gonna lower my red line until it is at inch, just like here above 1.5 inches. So what this is measuring is the thickness of my board. So now I'm gonna turn on the dust collection and I'm gonna turn on the machine.